Buffalo. I tried Buffalo.
Yeah,
No one
I don't
picked
see
up.
Buffalo.
And I don't think anyone's there.
Yeah. All right.
And they can call in too and connect. So,
Nobody called us. So
Yeah. That's not general anyway.
All right, sorry for the technical difficulty. It's Tuesday, February 4th. This is the New York State Appearance Enhancement Advisory Committee. We start with introductions here in Albany. I am Michelle Diallo-Brenner, Board Chairperson.
I'm Amy Pickering, Department of State.
Jody DeLow, Department of State.
Marcy Rose, Department of State.
Denise Tidings, Department of State.
Jasmine Norman, General Counsel, Licensing Services.
Kimberly Custer Smith, SED.
Thomas Reimer, SED. Lisa Stansroy, SED, but he's just stepped down.
Nicole Hadsell, SED.
Christopher Fennell, the New York State Salon and Spa Professional Association.
New York.
Arnita Gant, Department of State.
Dave Mossberg, Department of State.
Ernest Delaney, Department of State.
Anthony Fiore, Capri School.
Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes Padilla, Department of State.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. We do not have enough board members for a quorum this morning, so we'll move forward right into department and subcommittee reports. First, starting with the enforcement update from Arnita Gant.
Okay, I just wanted to give a little information on what we did captured in 2019. In 2019, we did over 2,200 inspections. That's 10% of our licensed business population. The inspections was done in all regions of the state, and we went by counties. Our complaints, we did an analysis of the type of complaints that we received. The majority of our complaints involved allegations of health and safety violations. The next number of complaints were allegations of unlicensed activity. And then we had other complaints that also fell in that category. I guess that's it. That's the report for you.
Yes.
And now we're moving on to our 2020 inspection program, which we are about to be underway.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's my report.
On to processing report from Jody DeLallo.
Good morning. In your folders, as always, there are licensing statistics. On one page, it's 2020, snapshot of the number of licensees in 2020, and then on the opposite side are the stats from 2019. And as you can see, they remain pretty consistent. The numbers are pretty close last year. One thing I did want to mention, we kind of had a conversation in our processing meeting today about, reasons for rejecting applications. So applicants apply online, as you know, and if the school's not signed up for auto verification, a lot of times we have to reject because the students don't upload the supporting documentation. So, we do encourage the schools to sign up. I don't know what percentage, honestly, is on board for online verification, but we do encourage it always. It sets it up for circumstances where it delays processing back and forth. So, other than that, that's my report.
Thank you very much. An examination report from Marcy Rose.
So I will be providing the written and practical exam statistics for 2019. For the cosmetology written exam, there was a 64% pass rate for English and 60% pass rate for foreign languages. The nail specialty written exam, there was a 77% pass rate for English and an 82% pass rate for foreign languages. The aesthetics written exam had a 68% pass rate for English and a 66% pass rate for foreign languages. The natural hair written exam had a 47% pass rate for 2019. And the waxing written exam had a 54% pass rate for English and a 72% for foreign languages. The practical exam statistics are as follows. For the cosmetology practical exam, there was an 82% pass rate in 2019. The nail specialty practical exam had an 81% pass rate in 2019. A new aesthetics practical exam was implemented on 1/1/2019 and had a 97% pass rate. The aesthetics practical exam in 2018 was a 90.64, so very close. And then the natural hair practical exam had a 100% pass rate in 2019. My other report is on the aesthetics written exam. We are in the process of revising the aesthetics written exam, and there is currently a meeting scheduled with subject matter experts to review the revised examination questions at the end of February.
Awesome. Any questions? Okay, moving on to action items. Our first on our list is the domestic violence information provided to licensees from Amy Benzabine.
Hello. So last October, in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, the Department of State partnered with the Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence, and they created a video. It was, it was created to help professionals in the industry help victims if they recognize that one of their clients might be a victim. We sent an email blast out to approximately 230,000 of our licensees with a link to this video. In addition, attached was the I Am Able resource card that they could put in their shops to make their clients aware that they're there to help them if they can. So that was sent out last October. In the meantime, the Office of the Prevention of Domestic Violence is going to be providing us with brochures. The brochures we're going to have available at our district offices, and our enforcement team is going to have them and distribute them for any of the shops that are interested to have them in their shops. So we just continued the effort to help. So, any questions?
Next on our list are board member contact updates from Denise Titus.
Okay, I'm happy to report that the board member list that's online has been updated, so it's all current now. And there's also in the folders for the board members here an updated list here as well. That's pretty much that for that report.
And then on to our next item is the procedural update. Again, Denise.
Okay, I'll kind of backtrack a little because I know there's some new faces here today. But as many of you are aware, we've been working with our Appearance Enhancement Trends Subcommittee for a few years now, compiling a list of procedural determinations under the guidance of our licensing counsel, David Mossberg. More simply put, we've been making decisions on what services fall within scope of appearance enhancement licensure and what services are outside of scope. The licensing law, it's not always clear on what procedures fall under appearance enhancement licensure scope, so we've worked with other state agencies to help us address some of those gray areas, and we're going to continue to do so. Especially when we suspect that the procedural area may fall under the scope of another license. Sometimes, they could be a medical procedure and it would be under the medical board or the acupuncture board or the massage therapy, for instance. Our list of procedures continues to grow as the industry progresses and the licensees consider adding new modalities to their list of services. We've recently been discussing some ways to make these determinations more publicly known, and Amy will elaborate on that shortly. In the near future, we may be looking for more assistance from our Parents Enhancement Trends Subcommittee to help us, decide how to best present that information and make it available to the public. And lastly, at the request of our board members, we revisited New York State Education Department's previous determination that microneedling, which is also known as dermal rolling, falls under the scope of acupuncture licensing. We recently asked NYS Acupuncture Board to reconsider their previous position in which it fell under acupuncture. They have added this area to their agenda for a decision for discussion at their April 6th meeting of the New York State Acupuncture Board. And these meetings are open to the public. They're going to take place in New York City and Rochester via video conference. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay. All right, moving on to new business, we have 2 items under that category. The first is updated guidance from the New York State Medical Board pertaining to laser. And David Mossberg.
Hi, good morning. So in everyone's folder, there should be a letter dated January 23rd, 2020 from State Education Department. As Denise had mentioned, we periodically reach out to other agencies for subject matter expert opinions regarding some of the procedures that some of our licensees may, seek to employ in their businesses. So one of the items that we thought would be worthwhile to look into again was to revisit the issue of laser services. We had previously contacted SED, I believe it was like 2008, 2009, where they provided a formal opinion similar to what's in the everyone's folders. There were several decisions from our administrative law judges that questioned sort of the opinion. Ultimately, there was an appellate decision that went to the Secretary of State that basically held that unless and until SED takes a final and clear determination or position with respect to the use of lasers for procedures other than hair removal, the department can't rely on sort of the informal guidance of SED to say that our licensees can't use laser services. And so we had again been receiving inquiries from our licensees specifically on laser hair removal, so we went back to SED and we asked them to clarify or to confirm their position, and they sent the enclosed letter. We reviewed the letter. It's consistent with what they had previously told us, like I said, back in 2008 or 2009. Based on this letter, it seems as if the position is sort of clear, hasn't changed. Laser hair removal is not within the scope of the practice of medicine. However, the use of lasers to treat any other human disease, pain, injury, deformity, or physical condition would be within the practice of medicine. So oftentimes we may see licensees, for example, using lasers. I've seen it for like skin tightening or spider vein lightening or spider vein removal or other such like cosmetic procedures. So based on this guidance, my advice would be is that we should continue to advise our licensees that anything other than laser hair removal would constitute the practice of medicine. So that's just an update that we got from State Ed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Any questions? Okay, moving on to the next item under new business, our plans for making procedural information available, I guess to everyone of the public. Amy?
So yeah, as described by Denise, the division has been researching trending procedures in the industry to determine whether they fall within the scope of our license or not. And, she's gotten a pretty good list, and she's worked with the Trends Committee, a pretty good list going. So, we constantly get questions. It's important for our enforcement team that we get that information out to the public, the information that we have available to us. We're going to try to break it down into various categories, such as, whether it falls within our scope, whether it's considered a medical procedure, whether it's outside the scope, or whether it's specifically prohibited in our regulations. So we're working together to kind of develop a wording and a chart to make it clear to the public. We think it's important that people who are visiting shops know what falls within the scope of the license that they're going into a shop for. So we've been working on it. We're getting some wording together to make sure that whoever's looking at it, that there's a disclaimer that it's not all-inclusive, and of course it's subject to change as industry standards change. So, we're hoping to have that hopefully, by maybe the next board meeting. I think that we should give it to the board members just to take a look at before we post it on our website. And then as we move forward, as board members see current trends happening, or even the state ed, they have questions about current trends, we'll take them under advisement, Trends Committee, Council, and try to add to the list as we go forward. So we've been meaning to do this for a while. I think it's a great thing to do. I think it helps our phone call, the people who are calling in, our licensees and whatnot. So that's our plan for the future.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any comments, questions?
I do have one. Micro needling falls under acupuncture, so it's not for our licensees to practice, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
As of right now.
Microblading is not governed by the Department of State, and that microblading is able to be practiced. I remember having a meeting, we were talking about tattoo licensing so microblading is still okay?
Microblading falls under tattooing in the state of New York.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Next section is public comment period. If anybody that's in attendance has anything they would like to add, I'll start here in Albany. In New York?
I just wanted to ask, the electronic translators are still not allowed in the written parts to take the exams, correct?
You mean electronic translators?
Well, a lot of my students, they have phones that'll translate from English to Spanish or Spanish to English, and they asked me, one of my students came up to me and said, can I bring that with me to take my written exam?
They can't.
No, we have the exams translated
they're
into
translated.
that language. So that's, they can select that when they're their exam. They get in that language that they're schooling in. Right. But they can't bring a translator in now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I guess based on that, I can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. I don't need a... Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.